The last Sonic game I played was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube. So Sonic Forces was kinda like seeing an old friend again. A friend you knew throughout your childhood, but as you grew up, this friend changed and got a bit weird. You still get along, but don't really hang out anymore. That's how the Sonic games felt to me after they went 3D. Now as a kid I played the old 2D Sonic games on the Sega consoles, and I guess you could say I was a bit of a Sega fanboy back then. But when I played Sonic Adventure 2, which was the first 3D Sonic I had played by the way, it really felt like it had lost a part of its charm. I don't know, unlike Mario games, Sonic games don't really seem to translate well to 3D for some reason. That said, I still had a good time with the game, despite its flaws. I even remember it had some kind of weird pet raising side game thingy going on, where you had to raise these creatures called Shaos, or whatever the correct name was, I forgot. I think it was Shao or something. Yeah, you had to raise these little creatures and they would go to kindergarten and you had to teach them stuff and then you could make them do contests and stuff like that. It was really weird and it didn't fit the game at all, but in its own way it was kind of fun and it kept you all busy and invested in the game. But that game came out in 2002, so it's been quite a while since I last played a Sonic game. Along came Sonic Forces. Well, it was a PlayStation Plus download, so yeah. I got the feeling they wanted to set a darker tone with the overall story arc of Sonic Forces. Eggman succeeds in taking over the world. The new mysterious villain of the hour beats the shit out of Sonic and he's captured, leaving our band of various side characters to team up as a rebel faction opposing the robot armies of Eggman. As mentioned before, it really feels as they attempt to set a dark tone, but they didn't really have the balls to really see it through, so most of it still comes off as goofy. For example, Sonic is captured and kept in Eggman's space prison, where he is supposedly tortured for months, yet when he gets bust out, he is the same old Sonic, all laughs and jokes. It somewhat reminds me of an old cartoon I saw as a kid, simply called Sonic the Hedgehog. The cartoon dealt with a similar plot, but handled the dark themes a lot better than this game, as it was clearly aimed at older kids, while the game still seemingly wanted to also rope in the young children with the cute happy stuff. It's hard to appeal to both parties with the same product. It's possible, but rare, and this game doesn't pull it off. The story had an interesting premise, but it quickly turned into bland drab. There's some mystery about the new villain and his reality warping powers, but it never gets a proper explanation and just gets played off as just another Eggman experiment. They had an opportunity to try something different, but were afraid to stray too far from the kiddie stuff. A missed opportunity. The graphics are pretty good for a Sonic game, especially the cutscenes were a treat at times. No complaints there. The gameplay is where Sonic Forces seems to really drop the ball. The game tries to combine 3 different types of gameplay depending on the characters and level. There are 3 gameplay styles. First off, the 3D modern Sonic gameplay is pretty much the same as previous 3D Sonic games like Sonic Adventure 2, which I mentioned before, with mad dashes, homing attacks on enemies and grappling hooks. That said, it all felt a bit more stiff and clumsy to me. Expect to randomly die quite a few times as a result of the fast pace and clumsy controls combined with awkward camera angles. But once you get a good feel for a level, you'll breeze through it. The second gameplay style will be referred to as the avatar gameplay. Yeah, didn't mention this, but at the start of the game you also have to create an avatar which you can use in certain levels. While it's certainly something new for a Sonic game, it doesn't really have much impact. While creating your own character and unlocking more cosmetic items by completing goals can be fun. But for the most part, it's a clone of the modern Sonic gameplay with minor changes such as the use of weapons, more grappling hook action and not as fast paced. There are certain levels where your avatar and Sonic team up and you can switch between them at will. A nice touch, but considering the wonky gameplay it doesn't really stand out. And last but not least is the classic Sonic gameplay. Classic Sonic is, as the name suggests, a throwback to the side-scrolling gameplay of the old Sonic games on the Sega Genesis. I don't know if it was partly the nostalgia, but I found these levels the most fun. Gameplay wise, Classic Sonic is a lot more solid and was a bit of a saving grace for the game. Honestly, I think I'd have more fun if the game was purely in the Classic Sonic mode. Still, I had a decent but short time with Sonic Forces. Yeah, the game is pretty short. But since the game was a free download, it didn't bother me, and I can truly only condone buying this game if you really, really, really like Sonic games or if it's heavily discounted.